The builder of the Burj Khalifa was truly a genius. What are the problems to be faced to build the tallest building in the world in the desert? First of all, the desert is often windy, and to be able to stand for a long time in the desert, where a Category 12 hurricane can occur at any time, the foundation is the most important part of the building, and the thickness of the foundation chassis alone is 3.7 meters. In the 1940s, it would have been impossible to pour such a sump in the desert heat, so engineers had to work at night and add enough ice to the water. Another problem, when constructing large buildings, is that the foundations sink a few centimeters during construction, but these sinkings are within safe limits, though this is relative to normal soil. Once the engineers had placed their measuring instruments 140 meters down underneath the Burj Khalifa, the engineers didn't find any solid hard straight either. There was just loose sand and soft sedimentary rock. Putting the foundation's chassis here, if the drop is too large, then the collapse is sooner or later. For this reason, the engineer came up with a method of inserting a sharp post into the sediment. After a certain depth, the post would not sink any further, and the sand around it would also bring about friction. So the engineers decided to put this kind of concrete pillars underneath the foundation chassis. The depth is about 50 meters deep, so that in the process of construction of the foundation sinking at the same time, the friction of the sand will make the whole chassis more solid. When it came to the construction stage, there was another problem to face. Normal concrete piles can be drilled directly with a drilling rig, but it was impossible to drill such holes in the desert soil, which would have collapsed around them and filled them with salt-laden groundwater. So the engineers injected drilling fluid into the hole as they drilled down, which created a slurry that prevented the inflow of soggy water while resisting soil collapse. A hollow pipe then needed to be put in, followed by rebar, and finally a very silky special concrete was poured in. The construction of these underground piles alone took 2.5 years. Then a layer full of rebar was laid on top, and the foundations of the Burj Khalifa were complete. Then after 6 months of testing, the engineers said that the Burj Khalifa could stand for a long time in 240-kilometer winds. Then they had to solve another problem. The concrete piles underneath the foundations would be corroded by seawater if the steel reinforcement inside them remained like this for a long time. To solve this problem, they made a cathode out of the rebar and used a titanium mesh to make an anode, and then fed it a DC current, which deposited electrons on top of the cathode, preventing the rebar from corroding. This way, the titanium anode mesh only needs to be replaced periodically.